So before we get started, y'all kind of know part of my testimony that I gave before. There's a little more to it than that, and you know what happened to me. I was saved at a young age, and it can happen to anybody, young, old. It doesn't matter. I mean, it can. You can fall away from God so easily, so quick. If we look First Peter 5:8, it says, "Be sober, be vigilant, because your adversary, the devil, as a roaring lion, walketh about, seeking whom he may devour." You know, he's always looking for a way in, some way to get that door open, some way to get in there and get a hold of you, lure you away from God. He'll make everything out there just look so nice and so appealing that you just can't resist it. I mean, that's his job. That's what he's going to do. He wants you. He does not want God to have you. He wants you for his own. You know, I was saved at the age of 12 years old at Weather Cross in Cleveland, Tennessee. I'll never forget it. I'll always remember that day. It's just something you don't forget. You know, you never, if you've truly been saved, you know it. You never forget that day. You never forget when it happened. But at that young of an age, still going through school, and with other kids and whatnot, it's so easy to start drifting away. I mean, it doesn't take a whole lot before you know it. I mean, you're into one thing and the next. You're at a party, next thing you know, you're picking up a beer. You're doing this, you're doing that. You're just going to continue on and on and on. And as time goes on, you're going to slowly get further and further and further away from God. And I've got several scriptures here, and they're all not from the same book, so I'm just going to kind of go through them, and you can look and find yourself if you want to and kind of follow along with it. You know, God kind of issued a warning about that, how we will be pulled away by listening to the devil. In 1 Timothy 4:1, "Now the Spirit speaketh expressly, that in the latter times some shall depart from the faith, giving heed to seducing spirits and doctrines of the devils." You know, like I said, I mean, the devil is going to try to get us. He's going to try every way he can. And once we're saved, he's really going to fight. He's going to fight even harder. Because at that point, you've given your life to God, and it's not as easy as it was before for him to influence you with those things that he did before. It's going to be twice as hard for him to do that because you've got God in your corner. But he's going to really work at trying to do that. And he did with me. He worked for a while. And as time went on, it got worse and it got worse and it got worse. And, you know, the light started to fade and everything started to turn to darkness. I mean, I was completely and totally away from God. Didn't want anything to do with him, wasn't going to have it. I was kind of raised a little different. The man that raised me was a good Christian man at one point. He got away from God just like I did. But when he made things right with God and chose to follow the path that God led him down, he pushed just a little bit too hard, I think. And in doing so, he pushed me away. But I feel that he was really, in his heart, trying to do what was right and what God would have had him do. And then, as I look back on it now that I've got older and I've got wiser and made things right with God, I realize that a lot of times I use that as a crutch, as a reason not to walk back to the church door. I kind of played on that a lot more than I should have. But you know, at some point, it can happen to any one of us. Any one of us. Doesn't matter who it is. It's just so easy for the devil to get in there and do that to you. I mean, there's so many things out there that he can just present in front of you that he just wants you to find so appealing that you just slowly and gradually just trickle away and start falling towards those things. And before you know it, he's got you completely. But at some point, you know, once God saved you, even though you strayed away from God, at some point, God knows when enough's enough. And He's going to put that stop sign out there for you. And you're going to keep going down that road you want to go down, thinking everything's great, grand, life's just a blast. But at some point, you're going to hit that stop sign. When you hit that stop sign, you're either going to blow straight through it and keep on trucking, doing what you want to do, or you're going to stop and you're going to listen to God. God's going to get your attention one way or the other. And He's got a lot of ways of doing that. He told me how He was going to get my attention, and He definitely got it. And that's between me and Him. But once you've been saved by God's never going to leave you. He's not going to forsake you. He's always there for you. He's never going to turn His back on you. You may turn your back on Him. At some point you may turn and run the other way, but He's always there when you come back. He's never going to leave you. He's always going to be by your side. But God does know when you've had enough. And in 1 Corinthians 10:13 it tells us, there hath no temptation taken you but such as is uncommon to men. But God is faithful, who will not suffer you to be tempted above that you are able, but will with the temptation also make a way to escape, that you may be able to bear it. I went through all those temptations and all those things with the devil for 30-something years. And I believe God will make a way for you to escape all that and bring you back home to Him. And He did. He did that through my wife. She talked to Brother Charlie, and he came out and prayed with her. She made things right with God. And when she did, she started coming to church, and she instantly started praying for me. She knew I needed to be in here with Him, and there was no doubt about it, I did. And that's honest truth. But she never let up. She just kept coming, kept praying. And then eventually I hit that stop sign. And God said, boy, that's enough. That's enough. He said, you need to stop what you're doing, and we need to have a talk. So I made my way to the door of this church. Y'all all know that. Came down to this altar, had a talk with God, and made things right with Him. But eventually, if you truly are a child of God, He's only going to let you run so far before He reels you back in. And sometimes I think He lets us go through some of those things, some of those trials and experiences that we live through. I think they're lessons. I think we learn from them. I think we can use those lessons and things that happen in our life to help someone else later down the road. I've been through so much in 30 years. I've got friends that, without a doubt in my mind, right now, are burning in hell because of me, and because of me turning my back on God. One of them being my best friend, my wife knows who it is. But there's not a doubt in my mind he's in hell. And one day I'm going to have to answer for all that. That's 30 years I was away from God and turned my back on Him, and I will answer for it. And, God's laid it on my heart to kind of talk about all this tonight with you guys. Like I said, it can happen to any of us at any point. Doesn't matter who it is. None of us are perfect. We all make mistakes. We're all human. But we have got to stay close to God. We've got to, just like tonight, this church, there's a handful of people here. Mornings, it's full. How are we going to do that if we're not coming back here? How are we going to do that if we're not coming back here on Wednesday nights? Sunday mornings, we got tons of people here. There's great things happening on Sunday mornings. But then we come to Sunday night and Wednesday night. Everybody turn and look behind you. Just turn around and look right behind you. What do you see? A whole bunch of empty seats. What are we doing to fill those seats? Are we doing our job? Are we trying to fill those seats for God? It's like this week after week after week. I love this little church, y'all. I do. when I walked through the doors of this church for the first time, I've been to a lot of churches. I've sat under a lot of great men. You know, I've sat under Lee Robinson, Kelton Williams, Tommy Crider. I mean, tons of them. I've been to tent revivals. I've been all over the United States listening. But when I walked right through the door of this church right here, as soon as I stepped across that threshold, I could tell God was in this church. And I've been to some that I could tell He wasn't in it. It was all show. There's a lot of them like that. You have a lot of churches that just say, look at us. Look how big we are. We did this, we did that. That's not what it's about. It's about God. You know, it doesn't matter if there's just a handful of us here tonight. God's still here. But I do look around at the fact that there's so many empty pews in this church. And I think us as Christians and members of this church will be working harder to fill those pews. You know, everybody, going kind of back to what was said this morning, everybody has some kind of calling. Whether it be to preach, whether it be to teach, whether it be to sing, we all have some sort of calling. And it could be that it's just to get out here and testify to that one lost soul, that one person, invite that person to church. Ask him to come to church with you, your neighbor, whoever, ask him. I mean, I do it all the time. It doesn't matter who it is. If I run into them, I'll let them know, hey, look, going to church on Sunday, Wednesday, you're welcome to come join us. But we need to try harder as members of the church and as Christians to help to fill these seats. Because every seat we fill here is one more seat we fill in heaven. That's one less empty seat in heaven. I'm going to leave it at that, Zach. I'm going to let you have it back right there. I don't want to overstep on that.
Oh, no, you're good, brother. Good. Listen, 1 Peter chapter 3:15 says, "Be ready to come